Hi Krishna, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Shankar. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we're waiting for Rahul. We'll get started in 2 minutes.
Okay.
You have any questions?
Nothing at the moment, Shankar.
Sure.
Hello.
Hi Rahul.
Hello. Hi, Shankar.
Right. Okay, we'll get started now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going through almost the same document which we have done for 2 weeks of recap, just to make sure Krishna is on the same page.
Okay.
And you will also get a small recap from me. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, DevOps we saw already. That is the combination of development plus operations. The team that works along with the multiple teams. So Dev, Ops, and QA. So these three teams we work together. So basically, we are like a bridge between these three people, and then do all the operations. That's why we were called as DevOps, because we stand between these two guys and bridge the gap. So that's why we are called as DevOps engineers. So any doubts on this particular word? Because it is the basic uh, funda behind everything. We are trying to connect different people within the organization. Am I audible? Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay. So any
Yes, Shankar.
questions on this one? Any questions on this one? Especially who is a
No.
DevOps? Okay.
No. You have cleared about it. It's a combination of development operation team and QA team.
Yeah. Basically, we work for all the people. So when I say we work for all the people, so what do? We work for the infra creation first. What is infra creation? The servers required to deploy or run the application. Got it? This
Mm-hmm.
application, this infra is nothing but you can call it as servers or your clusters. Clusters means group of machines connected to each other and behaves like a single machine. Servers, or you probably say, okay, most of the time it is called as servers. What exactly server does? What exactly is there on the server?
It hosts the application.
Correct. You basically run some services on the machine, on the server. Just give me a second. I'm getting a call from my manager. Guys, if you feel I'm kind of repeating the same thing almost from the day one, it is really important to understand few things that you should be very strong on this. Okay.
Okay.
So servers are clusters, which is nothing but a uh, bare metal hardware. On top of that, you will install operating system, you will install application, all that is required. In terms of cloud, we only reserve EC2 instances or database or storage S3. So all this is not that easy to just create it, because when it comes to larger audience, right? I mean, we don't really do it easily. So what I'm trying to say is, it is not that easy to easy for people to just create the resources whenever it is required. So there should be one person sitting there to do all the stuff. He is called the infra DevOps engineer. Why we are talking about infra? Because we'll be looking at why Terraform is required. Why Terraform is required for our automation. Give me a second. Okay, I'm finally settling down at one place. Sorry, guys. Okay. So any doubts so far with respect to whatever we discussed?
Shankar, can you repeat again? Your voice is just not audible.
Okay. Who's it?
Just the last part.
So any specific doubts you have with respect to
No.
whatever I have spoken so far?
No.
Since you are on the cloud, you will be provisioning only the managed resources. You don't need to go onto the machine and do a hard boot, hard reboot and all. You just need to reserve machines through AWS console or AWS interface. Okay. For anything you want to do, I mean, say for example, think a developer is writing code, right? What he will do initially, if you're a developer, you would already be knowing it. If you're a developer, you're writing code, what is the next thing that you do?
Testing, unit testing.
Exactly. You do unit testing. Where do you do?
The local machine.
Exactly. So that's what exactly we need. So we need to test it on the local machine because we don't have access to the servers. Or you are not confident enough to test it on the remote server, because I mean the change is incremental, right? You probably do 10 lines of code plus 100 lines of code next day. Probably it becomes 1000 lines of code after 2-3 days. So you're not confident enough to release 100 lines, 1000 lines. Once it becomes stable, what you do is you release to the environment that is called dev environment, which will mostly be on the cloud. Okay. So who creates this dev environment? That is what is done by infra DevOps engineer. Okay. Is it clear? Is it understandable?
Yes.
So DevOps engineer will create the resources and pass on the details. Pass on the server details to the team. So you can deploy your application code onto the server. Okay, that is what is the thing happening in the background. So as a developer, you probably just write the code, you wait for DevOps to create the server and pass it on to you so that you can do the testing. Or you can probably say that dev environment is ready. Then after dev, what is the next environment? Dev environment, then QA. QA environment. QA is basically handled by testing team. Testing team is the one who does testing on the QA environment. Dev is also kind of a testing is done by QA team. Testing done by QA team. Here also testing is done by QA team. Only thing is he will do functional and non-functional. Any idea what is non-functional testing?
Non-functional.
It is basically load, stress, and performance. Okay, clear?
Okay.
Functional testing means it is all about features, application, how it should work, it will be tested. Whereas load, stress, performance, and all, it is based on customer use case. If the load increases by instead of 1,000 people, 100,000 people, instead of 100 signups, maybe thousands of signups within an hour. Like that, I mean, probably immediately there is a traffic on your website and trying to verify whether you can withstand that stress or not. So that is why load, stress, performance testing will be done by QA team. Then it will be moving on to the stage environment. Stage environment is nothing but close to production, but before production, it will be tested and then it will be released to the production. What is production environment? It is called live. Okay. Now you tell me where and all DevOps engineer, the infra DevOps engineer need to work on. Is it just one environment or multiple environments?
Obviously, the multiple environments.
Multiple environments, right? Yeah. So what would happen if you create manually? If it is a manual effort to create EC2 instances or to create AWS resources, what would happen?
It will take time, too much time.
Yeah, take too much time to create.
Shankar, I have a question here.
Yeah,
Like, since you have said that, so once the developer writes the code in
correct.
his local machine, and he will push the code to the, after that he will do the unit testing, and he will push the code to the dev environment, right?
Uh, basically there'll be a okay. So here, once the code is stable, he has to manually push the build, not the code, build or CI/CD pipeline. Through CI/CD pipeline, it will be deployed.
So CI/CD pipeline will automatically push the code, push the build to the dev environment. Is it?
Correct, correct, exactly.
Okay. And then why will the testing team test the build in the uh, in the below line you have written QA team testing done by QA team, and
Correct.
again the QA team will do the testing in the QA environment.
It's
So
basically
why
okay.
they are doing in both environment? Why not in only one environment the QA will
Okay.
do?
So like I said, this is functional testing, non-functional testing. Here it is just a simple validation. Simple validation, or you might have heard about there is a word called sanity testing. It's a basic functional testing to make sure the deployment is correct. See, many times the deployment itself will not be correct. I mean, some issues here and there. So they have to verify the deployment is correct, some features are working correct, then only they will promote the build to QA. QA is kind of official testing done by the quality assurance team to verify all the features are working fine, to verify all the stress load test cases are tested. It's like that. I mean, there could be more automated tests, but sometimes manual testing will also be done.
Okay,
So
so Shankar, again the CI/CD pipeline will run so that the build will pass on to the QA environment.
correct. So on the
Okay.
dev, there will be multiple builds deployed. But it's not like all the builds will be promoted to QA. Multiple builds will be deployed to dev. The thing is, it is just only for the initial testing purpose, not that every build will be promoted to QA, because it is the initial testing by QA team and dev team. So if you really look at the process, I mean, it's little complicated, but it's like, I mean, you have to go through small steps before you deliver the product to the customer. There will be a lot of small validations done by uh, different people on the dev environment. On the QA environment, it is like a tagged build which will be delivered to the customer if everything goes through well. So there is always promotion, build promotion. So again, it is more of a process within the organization. It may differ from one organization to another organization. So you don't have to really think about whether there'll be build promotion always. So little bit of process change will be there from company to company. Okay. Does it clarify your doubts?
Yes, Shankar. So does that mean CI/CD pipeline will not run again for the QA?
No. So CI/CD pipeline will run only for the dev first, and
Okay.
then people will do some validation if everything is okay. Because see, QA team, the QA environment will be taken and it will be tested for a long time. See, it depends on how many test cases are there, what are the different features that you're testing, whether you're running functional test and non-functional test both. So there are so many factors dependent here. Got it?
Yes, Shankar. I have one small question here. Like,
Yeah.
how will the so once the build is generated and CI/CD pipeline will run and it will do all the testing. Now,
Yeah.
how will QA take that the output from the dev and they will do the testing? How that is being done?
See, it is a understanding within the team that uh, there'll be pass criteria or there'll be some go no go criteria that will be decided based on some document. They'll say number of test cases passed, number of features tested. Some validation will be there, some passing criteria will be there. Once that is reached, they will say that it is ready for the QA to test it, and they'll give a time frame. Okay, 7 days, 6 days. some time frame will be set. Within the time frame, they'll have to finish the testing. Before that, before they finish it off, there'll be round of development happening in the development team, and they will do the testing on the dev environment to make sure whatever features they're developing. Say, for example, you add a new tag or new button. You need to check whether the new button is coming. If you click on the button, whether it is able to show you some output or not. Some basic validation will be there. For example, if you include some Google authentication integration to your application, so you just need to check whether Google can be integrated. Google option can be seen. When you click on it, whether it is prompting you the existing login or not. Like that, it will be tested. But with respect to QA, it will be a complete round of testing to make sure the application is working end to end. On the dev, it is not end to end. So you can say that in dev QA, it is end to end testing.
Got it, Shankar. Yeah.
Okay. So they will also have something like E2E, the keyword in all the organizations. They'll say there is an environment called E2E. Okay. Let's move on. Any other doubts? We'll talk about production a little bit. Production, as I said, it is a live environment being accessed by customer. Being accessed by customer. Yes.
Stakeholder and customer are same, right?
Correct. It is, yeah. Stakeholders or customer. Or direct public. So it depends on what kind of product that you're deploying, you're building. Based on that, I mean, this varies. For Flipkart kind of product or Amazon kind of application, it is a public one. There are some applications which are only to internal customers or maybe some companies private access. You call it a stakeholder. Sometimes you simply call it as customer. So before we deliver to production, there should always be some process. We call it as change request, approval, and then there is a cab which is sitting to test whether everything is fine, change approval board, because it is going for the customer, right? So customer should have been informed about what is the feature that you are going to get, how it is going to affect. All the changes need to be communicated to the customer as well. So there will be change approval board. They will be sitting and then checking whether changes are good enough to be deployed in production or not. So we call it as this one is call it as CR. This is called as approval process. Whether it is approved or rejected based on the CAB discussion, change approval board. So all these things part of your release process. So this is part of the release. So release process as the deployment here. Because we are releasing to the customer, right? So there has to be a proper release, whereas deployment will happen once the release is accepted. Here and all the places, deployment and release happening at the same time. So you deploy it on QA. Mostly QA people get to know that, I mean, there is something deployed. Once they get to know, that is called release. That means, say for example, a movie has come to Netflix or something, right? What do? They deploy it first and you get it released. I mean, you get the access. That means it is released. Whereas if you take a Play Store application, first again, that is also kind of first it is deployed and released, then you deploy it in your phone. Install it in your phone. Install it in your phone. Okay. Any doubts?
Got it.
Okay. So in order to get the environment, say it is not about simple environment, not just EC2 instances. It'll be S3, like I said, RDS plus other resources. And there'll be different environments, right? Environment 1, environment 2, like that, say dev, QA, stage, production. There are other resources, other environments come in the middle also. But we'll talk about only 4. So in order to create 4 different environments, if you do it manually, it will be very time-taking process and it will be error-prone also. That's the reason why we choose to automate everything using a tool. It is not only just making the process easier, also we need to have some record of what is done on the environment. If it is automated, we get the changes recorded. Changes or new changes recorded into your automation tool. So it is combination of Terraform and Git. We'll talk more about all this, but just try to understand there are 2 different tools that are required at a minimum. Terraform, Git, GitLab. GitLab is a server, Git is a client, Terraform is infrastructure as code tool. So this is just to create the infra, you need to have these many different tools. So Git is a protocol which uses a few commands like git add, git commit, git push, git pull. GitLab is a repository server where you can store the code and retrieve the code. Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool where you can write the requirement in a simple text file that you can pass it on to the cloud. So here AWS also should come into picture. So when we learn infrastructure automation, we learn 4 different tools: Terraform, Git, GitLab, AWS. So when I say GitLab, GitLab CI also comes into picture. GitLab CI is nothing but a utility which allows you to do a CI/CD. Okay, any doubts?
Yeah, just going through all the things.
Yeah. Probably once this video is available, right? I'll upload it in YouTube. You can
Rewatch.
refresh it once again.
Shankar,
Yeah,
once the testing is done by the QA team, who
yeah.
handles this staging environment and the production environment? How will we push the code to the staging and the production? Will
That
it be
is a very good question. So DevOps engineer is the one who handles the release process. Who handles the deployment and release both. It has
so
to
that
go
mean
through the
okay?
yeah.
Yeah. Please go. Please go.
It has to
Please go
go
ahead.
through a particular process, and DevOps engineers are the one who will be working very closely with the application team. So I'll say DevOps engineer work closely with the application team to understand all the requirements. So in the application team, right, who are all will be there? Developers, testers, everybody will be there. Business analyst, everyone will be there. So DevOps engineer has to work closely with the application team to deploy the application plus configure the application. When I say configure means it is basically some configuration files you need to copy. So this is a default thing for almost all kind of applications because you need to have some configuration changes every time. For one example is that say dev environment may be running on one particular IP address, IP1. It is just one example. Say QA environment will be running on different IP address, IP2. And this may be pointing to a different customer portal. That means if you are accessing something from the customer side, there will be some information related to that particular environment on this particular local environment. So probably it is a little difficult to understand. If you depend on multiple companies, if your application depends on a different company, then you need to use that company's environment for your deployment. Okay, I don't want to make it too complex. You simply think some configuration information needs to be applied when you deploy the application to one environment. And that keeps changing from environment to environment. Got it?
Yes, Shankar. So one additional question here. So
Yeah.
again, we need to create a pipeline from staging environment to the production environment.
Yeah. So CI/CD pipeline will be there for every environment. So it is starting from build to deploy. So if you look at it on the dev, it will be code, build, or you can simply say code, test, build, deploy. On the QA environment, it is QA, or people call this test environment only. It will be directly starting from the build. You don't really go for code and test. So you will start from the build, directly take the build and deploy. Deploy where? On the QA servers. That is created by DevOps infra team. So in DevOps, we have infra DevOps, application DevOps. Infra DevOps means they take care of only creating the servers. Application DevOps works closely with the application team and they will deploy the application, configure the application, making sure the monitoring is configured, monitoring other access level, the security, all this you will have to make sure. So there are two different responsibilities. One is for the infra, another one is for the application. So there will be a CI/CD pipeline for infra. There will be a CI/CD pipeline for application DevOps. It may look a little complicated because I'm trying to tell you all the information till the end of our class. So it has to be a slow, gradually we have to gather some point here and there, then it'll be all right. Is that okay?
Yes, Shankar.
Yeah, please ask me. I mean, if you have any questions, please ask me. Don't hesitate. I have no problem answering you.
Okay.
Okay. See, our goal, DevOps goal is automate everything using different tools. So again, using different tools, it doesn't mean that everybody will be using a different tool. It will be unified across the team or organization. Why? Maintaining the tool is definitely overhead for the company. And if you probably use multiple different tools for different teams within the organization, there'll be a lot of cost added, and there'll be a lot of maintenance overhead. So there'll be some team who is sitting there to unify the process within the organization. Okay. So we'll be looking at the first tool will be Terraform. So we will have to look at Git a little bit. If you already have a good knowledge on the Linux commands, it is okay. And if you have Git bash as an interface, right? A Git bash is an interface for Windows. Windows will be acting like a Linux machine. Okay. So it is basically a CLI interface which is provided by Windows for you to think like you're working on a Linux machine. What are the different advantages of CLI? You can rerun the commands. You can write bash scripting. It is nothing but shell scripting. History will be there. History is the one. History of commands. And you can use count tab to run the job at a specified time. You don't need to wait for the job to run at a particular time. You can just put it in the cron tab that will run on the particular time. Okay, so for any questions?
No, Shankar.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll probably go through a little bit of git commands. Git bash, you are already aware. We'll
Right.
go through the git commands. Then tomorrow we'll go with the Terraform. Meantime, if you get time, just go through the Terraform videos so that you get a clarity on how Terraform can be used. What are the different
Yes.
work?
Yesterday I downloaded all the files and I'm
Okay.
going one by one. So
Okay.
since last night I was into multiple videos. So
Okay.
today still I want to do that again.
Sure. Okay. So if you have, say for Rahul, it is already completed, but it'll be a good option to again do that. And I'll also be anyways covering it up once again by
Yeah,
tomorrow.
thank you so much.
Sure. So the GitLab CI is for CI/CD. CI/CD is all about continuously picking up the changes and testing it. Continuously picking up the changes and testing it. So you may not have a clear picture of what is continuously picking up the changes. Probably after a week's time, you will have a better idea on this. Whatever we do initially, it will be a manual deployments. Manual deployments of infra creation. That is, write Terraform code and push the code to GitLab repository and then run the code from Git bash to create resources in AWS Cloud. Okay. Okay, if you don't have any other doubts, I'll move on to the Git introduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Shankar, your call is on mute. Shankar, your call is on mute.
Okay, somehow it has gone to mute. I really didn't notice it.
Hey.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was talking about what is Git. It is a powerful version control system that that allows you to collaborate effectively within the company, within the projects, and you can track the code changes. You can merge your code changes to a branch, and you seamlessly work on your code from multiple sources. Means I mean multiple different repositories you can create. So the main branch or the master branch it depends on your application. Sorry, it depends on your repository which you're using. Master branch is usually for GitHub, main branch for GitLab. So you create a branch and you will start working on the changes and test your changes and then merge your changes to the main. So that's what usually developer does. So we use key-based authentication for GitLab that we already spoke about it yesterday. So we don't have to really go back and see this because we copy the public key to the GitLab server on the key section, key setting section, and then we are able to do passwordless authentication. When you are onto GitLab, I'll explain you how it works. So couple of configuration files that you need to be aware is .git/config in your repository location or your wherever your repository is created or you are working on it. There is a .ssh folder that defines your key where it is stored. So basically, if you probably mess up with your key and your configuration may be affected, you will not be able to connect to the remote servers. We'll take an example for this when you actually do a hands-on with Git. So here it's the same concept I explained yesterday. You do a passwordless authentication to the remote servers where your public key is copied to a particular location. On the GitLab server, it takes care of copying it to your home directory .ssh authorized keys file. Little bit of introduction required for your port numbers, because every time when you connect to a different server, you need to understand what port it is being used. For SSH authentication, it is port number 22. For HTTP authentication, it is port number 80. For HTTPS authentication, it is port number 443. So you can see that the default ports, these are the default ports. Okay, here comes the git commands. Git init to initialize the repository if you are creating the repository from CLI. So this also we'll see, but it is not highly important. We will probably do it once or twice in our entire life cycle, entire development process. It is not highly important, but we'll learn it. Git clone is to download the repository from the remote machine to the local machine. Git add, git commit and all, it is all about saving the changes and making sure what changes you want to add. That is git add. Commit means saving the changes. Git status, it displays what what files changed, what files added. Like that it will show you. Git diff will be showing you the difference between the current file and your old file which is there in your repository. So remote versus local. Git push is to push your changes to the remote repository. Git reset is to reset your last change. That is like undo. Git pull, if you are working on a repository and that is changed by someone else, you should do a git pull to fetch your latest changes from the remote repository. Git checkout is to check out a new branch. Git branch is also used for creating a new branch. Git merge is to merge your changes from your branch to the main. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. Anything from Krishna?
No, Shankar.
Sure. So this is again SSH process, how we do the login to this such machine. Sorry, EC2 machine. That's pretty familiar already for you now. Okay, how exactly we do the changes? Say for example, this is Krishna and this is Rahul and this is Shankar. We will be working on feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, like that we'll be working on it. So you make some changes and you commit your changes to the repository. What I do is, if I come a little late and I need to, if we all are working on the same repository, then I do a git pull to get the latest change. And then I add changes to the local branch and then I push it to the remote. Similarly, the same process goes everywhere. So you need to do always a git pull before you make some changes to the repository. Understood?
Okay, we have to pull first.
Pull first, yes. Okay, here it represents very clearly.
Shankar, git
Yeah.
pull will pull the entire code or what?
The changes.
Changes?
Say, for example, git clone is similar to download. Entire repository download is git clone. Git pull will update your repository with the latest changes. So at this point, I mean, just assume it is like pulling the latest changes from the repository, not the complete repository. Say, for example, you have probably you have added X, Y, Z, and probably Rahul added A, B, C. And next time when you do some changes, you should do a git pull so that X, Y, Z plus ABC is available in your local. It should be local must be updated latest. Local must be the latest. Then you start working on new changes, git add, git commit, and git push. So that remote repository is updated. Again, the next person who is working on it, do a git pull, and then go through the same process, git add, git commit, git push. So every time git pull is very important. Git checkout is for the new repository, new branch creation and working on it. So it is the same document or same picture. I'll share this document with you so that you can go through. I'll probably take a break now. We'll cover tomorrow the rest of the stuff. Meantime, I'll pass on you some video. You can go through that.
Okay.
Okay, Shankar.
Sure. Okay. If
Okay.
anything
Thank
else,
you, sir.
yeah. Sure then. Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.